Skateboarding is freedom. Skateboarding is escape. Skateboarding can be a creative outlet. It's just so many things to so many different people. For me, it's always been a bit of like expression and escape at the same time, just like what I kind of needed in order to stay sane. It was something that got me through everything. And it's kind of a cliche, they say skateboarding saved my life, but it kind of really did. If I didn't start skating and going down the path that I was going and maybe following in like my brother's footsteps and just going into a place that was totally destructive, I'm so happy to be on this trajectory instead of a different one, you know? I owe it all to skateboarding.
Boom. Yeah, dude.
You don't really know what someone's going through. I've heard so many times people are like, oh yeah, rich kid, and I'm like, bro, you have no idea. People have way gnarlier struggles than I do. This is mine, and if someone hears it and then they can feel like they can get through another day and be like, you know what, I'm gonna look at this a different way and spin this around, then this is all worth it to me. We just kind of had like a gnarly upbringing, and I guess a lot of people don't know that about me, and I think mental health is on people's minds right now with things that are happening, so I want people to understand that you don't have to start from something to get somewhere. There's a lot of choices along the way, and they just pretty much add like 1 point to your mental resilience to keep going, or the opposite of resilience. You know, growing up in my family, like, it was really gnarly. Seeing my dad fight cops, like seeing him get wrestled down to the ground and like being questioned from the cops, what's going on? Are people doing this or that? Or like, are you getting abused? Do we need to put you in a home? My dad is super, almost military style, you know? Parts of the things that I had to do were like decarpet the basement, like by hand, no tools allowed. I had to paint the house, sometimes with just a toothbrush. That was like the discipline building things that I had to do. And like, I was raised in a way I was like, speak only when spoken to. So I didn't tell anybody about anything. I'd have counselors and social workers show up at my school and ask me about what was going on. The last thing you want to do as a kid is like break up your family or anything like that. So you're just kind of like, nothing's going on, like everything's fine. We couldn't afford food and we couldn't afford heat in the house in Canada. Things got kind of bad, like where I wasn't eating for like days. Okay, like I have to go and get my heart monitored regularly now because I'm not eating for days at a time, and you know, my parents splitting up in like kind of just a new house like every week, and it's heavy, you know? Then I'm like, okay, well, I'm hanging out with older kids, I'm at the skate park, and like we're drinking and we're smoking and you know, whatever, like this is gonna get me through things, like these are my friends. And you can imagine if you don't eat for like 3 days and you're 85 pounds and you're just pounding vodka, like what kind of position your body is in, you know? I hit a rock bottom and it was young for me. Like it was like, wow, like this is what my life is at like 12, 13 years old. I'm in somebody's basement and I'm just like puking every 5 to 6 seconds for hours and hours and hours, black bile coming up. And I just remember thinking, I'm like, oh God, please take this away. Like I can't do this. And I like literally was like, I'm never drinking again. It was such a pivotal life lesson for me. And you know, like I love my brother like so much, and things progressed for him, and it got to a point where he tried to commit suicide twice. He was locked in a psych ward for about 7 months. You know, he was actually really good, really fast. Before I even skated, like he was already doing like switchfoot back tails and stuff. I didn't see him very often. At one point it'd been like a couple years, just kind of in transition between different homes with like my mom and just kind of like going back and forth there. But I remember he came over one day too, and I was so stoked, and he was like, oh, you skate now? And I was like, yeah, dude. He hadn't skated in like a couple years, and he just gets on my board and just starts doing nollie tray flips. And I was like, you nollie tray flips? Oh my God, dude, this is crazy. Eventually at this point, you know, I think he was like 16 and starting to go through a lot of his issues like with mental health, and like he eventually called me, and I knew he was going through just as much, if not more than me. And I just felt like this pit like in my stomach, and I was like, I remember just like looking at my phone, it was this old flip phone, and just like seeing his number, be like, I gotta answer this call. When I answered the call, he was like in tears and he was crying, and he was just talking about, I needed you to answer, like I have a gun in my mouth. It's just like, if you didn't answer, that would have been it for me. And I'm just like, where are you, dude? Like, everybody had their problems, you know, and like I kind of ended up being considered like the happy-go-lucky one out of everybody, so everyone kind of like thought I was all right. Something happened at my house and I was just so over it, and I punched this wall and I broke my hand in like 3 places. I remember my mom being like, "You can't skate." And I quit skating. I like fully stopped skating for like a year. And my birthday came around and my mom bought me a deck, which was so crazy. I was like, "You spent $50 on a deck? Like, I know you don't have that money, and I haven't skated in a year. Why would you do this?" I was mad. I was kind of like, "You don't even know anything about me." Set it up, and I remember like, at least I'll try to skate it. I went to the skate park and I had such a good time. I was like, I love skating. Why did I stop? This is so awesome. And I was at the Rocky Point skate park in Vancouver. This guy kept walking around the skate park and he was watching me skate, and eventually came up to me and he's just like, "Hey, I'm an agent. We do commercial work and stuff. You know, I'd love to have you come audition. There's one tomorrow." So I go, I skate, and they called me that night. They're like, "Oh, we like you. You want to come back?" And then I got another call back, and eventually ended up getting the part for this commercial. And I got $5,000, and I paid our mortgage bill, and we didn't lose our house because of it. That was the beginning. One thing led to another, and sponsors started happening. You know, then my skate career began. I just remember thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna turn my life around. I'm gonna give everything I got to skating and everything I could to making myself get to where I needed to be to just get out of this situation. Getting sponsored was kind of just a necessity to be able to get through hard times. You can just find like a silver lining, and there's always going to be a positive outlook if you can get there.
It's worth it when you just put in the work, son.
Just knowing that I had skateboarding as my outlet is just something that I hung on to, is something that gave me escape and creative expression, like helped me funnel all of the pain that I kind of had inside growing up and all of the frustration that I hadn't expressed into skating. It's the most amazing thing that could possibly have happened, you know? It's brought me friends, experiences, traveling, a little bit of money, and having this crazy journey, and just seeing friends that I've known forever get jobs, and I'm just still out here doing what we were doing when we were kids, and I'm just like, I'm still living this dream. You know, a lot of time I talk to my brother, and he says, "I am where I'm at now because of X, Y, and Z." And I say, "I am where I'm at now because of X, Y, and Z." And that's the path, you know, that's why I want to tell this story. You know, and you asked me, it was like, am I happy with my career? I'm like, oh my God, dude, if I'm here, I'm like so happy to be here, you know? Everyone can always hope for more, but then at the same time, you can always look at it and be like, wow. The other day I was thinking, I was just like, dude, I'm a pro, that's crazy. What was happening in my family and the problems that were happening, and I was kind of like, skateboarding is keeping me sane. Skateboarding is giving me a means, some sort of resources, whether it's some product that's helped me get money. It's helping me just build a community of support. I really feel like this has seriously made me who I am. If people respect me, I'm stoked. If not, I'm like, I still chose the path that makes me happy. Make sure that you train your conditioning to be seeing the positive. That's kind of why I really wanted to touch on this, because if you come from a family that doesn't have money or anything else that you think holds you back, there's a way to channel that, and there's a way to move forward. You can find the silver lining, or you can find what's right there in front of you that you don't want to see, you know?